Stop playing yourself. So the thing I do in my first playthroughs of any RPG, especially like Cyberpunk, because I'm not really familiar with the lore of Cyberpunk, is I'll always make a character that looks like me. I'll play through that game as I would exist in that world. That way, as I'm soaking in the lore of the game, my character's also soaking in the lore of the game, and I make my choices based off that, basically as an outsider to this world who's learning it. That's how I play my first playthrough. Now, when you play the game again, I'll make a completely different character than me. For example, in games like Baldur's Gate or Pathfinder, I'll make like Geralt from The Witcher and like make his class and play through the game as a monster hunter instead of as someone who's just doing the main quest. The best way I can explain it is like games like Cyberpunk, where there's 3 life paths you can choose, which are basically backgrounds for your character. Nomad, which is like basically an outsider. Street Kid, basically somebody who grew up on the streets of Night City. And a corpo, basically like a executive who worked in the building, ain't really did no crime or no shit like that, or at least no street crime. In Cyberpunk, I have a save for each one of these backgrounds, and I build each character differently and play them differently. For instance, a nomad would be somebody who lived outside of Night City. So I make sure that their stats, like their cool stats for persuasion and shit, I make sure that's real low, because they wouldn't be able to really talk to people too much in the city because they wouldn't know the lingo. They're not from the city, they're from the outside. High reflexes, high strength, and no real technical or intelligence, because they're not in the city. I don't see why they would need any type of hacking skills or anything like that. Like a street kid, I'll usually make them with high cool stats because they grew up in the streets. They should know the lingo. They should be able to persuade people, talk to them. I'll give them high strength, high reflexes, still not very high intelligence or tech. Corpo, they work in executives. They're rich. They're not from the streets. So what I would do is I give them high intelligence, high tech, and I play them kind of like a hacker. Like I play through the game, I don't really try to get in too much combat. I try to hack stuff instead of doing things directly. These backgrounds too, I make them each look different too. I make the street kid look kind of street, you know what I mean? Make him wear nice clothes, give him tats and shit. Nomads, instead of giving them tats, I give them like tribal like markings and shit like that. And corporal, I just keep them clean cut. And I think that really adds to the replayability. Like I see people always say shit like, people always say that they did like one playthrough of RPG. If you played an RPG one time, you're doing something wrong, because the game is made for you to go through it with different builds, experience it different ways, do different side quests. And the way you build your character will really change the way you do that. And let yourself immerse. And it doesn't have to be RPGs either. I mean, even Spider-Man. Don't play Spider-Man as yourself playing as Spider-Man. Play Spider-Man as Spider-Man. For instance, when you're web swinging, try to do cool shit. Try to run on the wall sometimes. Jump off. Web swing. Do backflips. Not because it gets you somewhere faster, just because it helps you immerse in the world. I like to write fiction, so that's where a lot of my skits come from, and that's why RPGs are like really fun games to me, because I basically get to make a character and watch them exist in somebody else's fiction. Just before I get out of here, I'm playing Pathfinder Red for the Righteous right now, and I made a tiefling. I love making tieflings in D&D. I made his deity as Modius, who is a lawful evil deity.